Hi everyone. So let's talk about how corona, or not this corona, the coronavirus, how it could potentially cause the next recession. So firstly, we've got to understand how a recession's caused. So I've done a really simple diagram. You can look into how recessions are caused in more detail if you want, but generally, it's like cycles, like business cycles. From you have shops that sell. If they earn less revenue, then they spend less, right? And that's a general kind of phase of things. If a shop is earning less, they can't hire as many employees, they can't spend more on supplies, and that kind of affects the next shop because shops buy from shops. Shops essentially buy from producers. Producers go spend that money in other shops, and then it's just this big cycle. So like if you have reduced spending, over time it leads to this downward spiral because whenever like everyone just gets less, then all of a sudden we've got a problem of like how do you manage your debt? How do you manage your like existing expenses? Like if you have leases that are already there, you can't escape from your leases. If you have employees, you can potentially just like fire some, or you might reduce capital expenditure. Like you might have been thinking, I'm going to renovate something, but now that spending has now that revenue has decreased, I'm going to reduce my spending, um, which reduces this shop's revenue, right? So at the end of the day, like it's this big bad cycle that's been caused. Like, never mind how bad like the coronavirus could be. It's the fact that we've got China not allowing their citizens to travel anymore. We've got people being more fearful, so like they go out less. So what kind of places get impacted the most? So like airlines will be, airports will be, crowded spaces like malls will be. You've got like cinemas as well, and then with the tourists, there'll be tourists, travel agencies. Like no matter what, like you're gonna want to travel less in general because you're just gonna be very fearful of this. You don't want to be like stuck in a plane, with too many people, regardless of if there's a virus on board or not, or if there's any virus in your country or the country you're going to. That risk just it's a big psychological thing as well. So not only is the virus gonna like cause a lot of harm by having people with the actual virus, but it's also a psychological thing with fear. So then it's all these places all of a sudden, like generally most of them are like very physical places. They're going to start losing a lot of revenue. And also the physical places are the places that hire the most people. And also a lot of them are the low paying jobs as well. So it leads to like if people have less jobs here, they're going to end up having to go on like say government benefits and all that. Or crime rates might go higher because they don't there's a lot less of those jobs going. So that's the beginning of you're triggering a recession. And then also like a lot of people in these areas, they're going to have mortgages or they're going to have a lot of debt. And then if they default on their debt, who does that affect? It goes to banks. Like it affects banks. The minute banks are affected, they've got a higher default rate. They want to keep up their profit margins. They're going to charge people a bit more with the interest rates. Puts pressure on other businesses. So it's not a great situation that it's going to lead to. This is just the beginning, of course. So we don't know how bad the impact could be. But if things get more severe, you could well see a lot of these places not do very well. The places that would do well is like it has this flow-on effect. If people are going outside less, they don't want to go to physical locations. Well, one thing they want to spend it on is health. Like if there's a virus, you're going to spend it on healthy things. You're going to try to keep up your, good health, a good immune system. You're also going to do a lot of online shopping. So if you do a lot of online shopping because you don't want to go out, then that's also like going to boost places like Amazon and all that. Like if you thought Amazon was closing enough malls already, like if you have this kind of situation, Amazon's just going to accelerate over this. So, like, or just online shopping in general. I mean, if people don't want to go to cinemas because of the crowded spaces, they're gonna try to seek online entertainment. So that could be like streaming services like Netflix, or like Disney Plus, or Apple TV, or like all the other places. So you can kind of see where I'm going, where like a lot people want to go to a lot less of the physical locations, and they want to go more to like the virtual, the online spaces. So you can see what might have a better, what might stand a better chance of doing well. So when stock market's dropping, everything's dropping, but in terms of value, like these things here could have a hold a lot more value. But you can see how, a recession might be caused the minute spending starts to drop. So that's kind of my kind of view of like how that a recession could happen, because we've been talking about recessions for a long, long time. Because I think like we're going on, so like around about 10 years on like a bull market. So someone like the general case is markets usually go for about 5 to 8 years before they have like a crash. This is going for 10 years. So there's kind of like something's got to give in terms of how much this market is running up. And there's a book called The Black Swan by Nassim Taleb, and he always talks about how recessions are caused by a thing that you least expect. So what's the current thing that we're least expecting is a coronavirus right now. So like with this situation, it could be the tapping point on top of everything else, like on top of like the tariffs that Trump has put on into all these other countries. That's kind of had a big impact, and it would have reduced investor confidence, because the minute free trade isn't that free anymore, all businesses kind of loosely, like they're like a bit more cautious. Confidence is a bit lower, and that kind of leads to less spending in general anyway. So now that you add on the coronavirus, it just kind of even impacts it even more than that. And for a while, China was kind of helping the world economy just stabilize because of the demand that they needed in so many different products. But if they say to Australia, hey, we don't need your mining materials, or they go to US, we don't need your, your products or your agriculture products or whatnot, or they go to another country and say we don't need your other products too, then all of a sudden it's a big crisis. It leads to in general less demand leads to less supply leads to less money for everyone, because the money, assuming like trickle on effect works that well, when money goes to the top, it tends to come back down to like all the workers spend it on shops, shops hire people spend it, and then it's a big cycle. So when people start spending on these areas, it kind of causes a bit of havoc. Though we're not seeing it on a large scale yet, but this could well happen in a few months' time if things do not stabilize. Though things do look like they are in a bit more of a controlling, like there's a bit more control over the situation right now. But like if things were to get out of hand, this could be our next recession. So let me know what you think, because I don't see anything else causing a recession unless Trump just does a radical, like he starts a war, he puts more tariffs on somewhere. Apart from that, I don't really see where a recession might be coming from unless it's the coronavirus. But let me know what you think. Like, do you think a recession is coming? Or even if you just have like a general theory, then yeah, just let me know. Always interested to hear your thoughts or perspectives. Until then, well, good luck investing.